Reading Srimad Bhagavatam 5.140. Bhustam sthanam kridam yena Sare giri vanadibhi Simacha bhuta nivrityai Dipe dipe vibhagasha. Bhusamsthanam, the situation of the earth, kritam, done, yena, by whom, sarit, by rivers, giri, by hills and mountains, varna adibihi, by forests and so on, sima, boundaries, also Bhuta of different nations, Nivratei, to stop fighting, Dipe Dipe, on the various islands, Vibhagashaha, separately, to stop the quarreling among different people. Maharaj Priyavarta marked the boundaries at rivers and at the edges of mountains and forests so that no one could trespass upon another's property. To stop the quarreling among different people, Maharaj Priyavarta marked boundaries at rivers and at the edges of mountains and forests, so that no one could trespass upon another's property. Purport by His Divine Grace J.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The example set by Maharaj Priyavarta in marking off different states is still followed. As indicated here, different classes of men are destined to live in different areas, and therefore the boundaries of various tracts of land which are described here as islands should be defined by different rivers, forests and hills. This is also mentioned in relation to Maharaj Prithu, who was born from the dead body of his father by the manipulation of great sages. Maharaj Prithu's father was very sinful, and therefore a black man called Nishada was first born from his dead body. The Nishada race was given a place in the forest because by nature they are thieves and rogues. As animals are given places in various forests and hills, men who are like animals are also destined to live there. One cannot be promoted to civilized life unless one becomes to Krishna consciousness. For by nature one is destined to live in a particular situation according to one's karma and association with the modes of nature. If a man wants to live in harmony and peace, they must take to Krishna consciousness, so they cannot achieve the highest standard while absorbed in the bodily concept of life. Maharaj Priyavrata divided the surface of the globe into different islands so that each class of man would live peacefully and not clash with the others. The modern idea of nationhood has gradually developed from the division made by Maharaj Priyavrata. Mama Jnanatimirandasya Vinanam Jnana Shalaka Chakshvaran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Gadamam Vidati Swapadandikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Yutapadagamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sukhajatam Svagana Raghunatam Vidam Kamsajim Shadvidam Shabhadutam Bhajanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Shakam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Sharam Kuta Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevapya Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namaram Vishnu Padaya Aya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatamine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Bhagavata Shiva Shri Gauravata Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you very much for coming in today to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. So you see here, to stop the quarreling among different people, Maharaj Priyavrata marked boundaries at rivers and the edges of mountains and forests, so that no one trespasses upon another's property, So why he demarcated this thing? First of all, why there are different classes of people. Even Arjuna spoke about this. He said, what is it? What he said about this Varṇa-Saṅkara? 44. Varṇa-Saṅkara Jayati. It says here, Adharma bir bhavat Krishna pratyushyanti kulastriya strisu dustarushu sneya jayate Varṇa-Saṅkara. When irreligion is prominent in the family of Krishna, the women of the family become polluted. And from the degradation of womanhood or descendant of Vrishni comes unwanted progeny. So you see, when irreligion is prominent, like now, Kali Yuga, irreligion is prominent. So then the woman becomes degraded. And when the woman becomes degraded, it says unwanted progeny. Well, how does this happen when the woman becomes degraded? Yeah? Prabhupada explains here in this verse, Vritti Saṅkara Jatinam, again the same word, Vritti Saṅkara, this mixing of this word. Saṅkara means mixing. Tat tat kula krita bhavat achauranam apapanam antyaja ante vasyahinam. Mixing of this. This is Saṅkara Jatinam, of the mixed classes of men. So here, explain, among the mixed classes known as Saṅkara, those who are not thieves are known as Antye Vasyayi or Chandalas, dog eaters. And they also have their hereditary custom. So this is where the division occurs. So how this is further explained, here you can see, there are four principal divisions of society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Sudra, have been defined. And now there is a description of Antyaja, the mixed classes. Among the mixed classes, there are two divisions, Pratilomaja and Anulomaja. If a woman of a higher caste marries a man of a lower caste, their union is called Pratiloma. Higher caste means the Brahmin woman marrying the Kshatriya or Vaishya. Actually, each one got, if she marries the Kshatriya, she called differently, marry a Vaishya is called differently, marry a Sudra is also called differently. Different names are there. I think in the Bhagavatam it is there, mentioned this thing. And if a woman of low caste marries a man of higher caste, their union is called Anuloma. The members of such dynasties have their traditional duties as barbers, washermen, and so on. I think this is very prominent in India. Yes? Huh? No. Very distinct, correct? So the government of India wants to do away with this by calling them all what? Scheduled caste, right? Is that the term for that? Huh? What?
They have different categories.
Huh?
1% of different categories. Government giving
Different castes. Huh? So you see why actually the Vedic system should not have this kind of divisions and all. But what is the reason? Among the Antyajas, those who are still somewhat pure and in that they do not steal, are not addicted to meat eating, drinking, illicit sex, gambling are called Antyavasayi. Among people of the lower castes, intermarriage and the drinking of wine are allowed for those people who do not recognize such conduct as sinful among themselves. So you see, this is the result of trying to do this, what do you call that? Saṅkara, mixing of. So how you get thieves and how you get, all these qualities. Just like when a person marries a devotee and develops what? All the good qualities of the demigods, correct? Yes? You know the word? Yes, says the Bhakti Bhagavati and Kinchana. What is it? 5. 1812, eh? So you see here, this is the, verse. So in this verse, Yasaiti Bhakti Bhagavati and Kinchana, Sarvesta Guna Tatra Samasta Sura. So, Arava Bhakta Sekuto Mahaguna, Manoratina Didavato Behi. So here, all the demigods and their exalted qualities such as religion, knowledge and renown become manifest in the body of one who develops unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So on the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activity has no good qualities. Even if he is adept with the practice of mystic yoga, the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculation and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? So you see the two distinctions. If you serve the Lord, even, of course I will come to that, even if you have got degraded qualities, you become purified. But on the other hand, if you don't do that, then you develop all the bad qualities. You see? And that comes from, by nature you mix marriage. That's why mixed marriage is never allowed. Varṇa-Saṅkara. That's why Arjuna is saying, if there is Varṇa-Saṅkara, how Varṇa-Saṅkara comes? Irreligion means what? Woman become corrupt, and woman corrupt, they mix marriage like now. Who cares? Who knows? Anybody marry anybody else, correct? So mixed up. Is it not? Huh? In fact, they like it, Somebody from the Arctic Circle, like Eskimo, marrying somebody from somewhere else. They think this is a far-out combination. Yeah. Yes? See, the whole thing is... And they develop all the bad qualities like what? Just like Lord Shiva, when Brahma asked him to create, he created all the black people, right? The same thing here, when they churned the body of... Who's Vena, yeah, they changed his body, then the first person who came out was the black guy, and he was shot, and he's called the Nishada. I think you all know, right? The name of Nishada, people who stay in the forest, right? Why, like today, they are put in this area? Why? Because I think when the world, Lord Shiva created all this black, and then Brahma saw that these people were not really, having good qualities. He saw them. So he asked Lord Shiva to stop, producing any more children. Correct? Because they were having not very good, of course Lord Shiva is in the mode of ignorance, and he was producing all these people who were not of good quality. So then they were put in the place like the forest, boundaries, mountains, they go stay there. Why? Because they are, explained here. Explain here, and this one is running out. Can you bring my cable for me? People who are not in the Varnashram system, so people who are not, Varnashram is 1127 or 1117? Huh? 17, huh? 1117, yeah, it's here, 1117. So can you bring it over here, boo? Okay, I got it. So you see here, dirtiness, dishonesty, thievery, faithlessness, useless quarrel, lust, anger, and hankering constitute the nature of those in the lowest position outside the Varnashram system. So the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, one who is like this, now we explain how you get into a low caste, because you mix marriage, you know. So when you get this mixed marriage going on, then these are the qualities you develop. Just now we read that those who are connected to Krishna, they develop all the good qualities of the demigods and Krishna. And here we are developing all the bad qualities. And people in this kind of a category, they cannot stay with the, what do you call it? The Varnashram, that means the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. I think I have seen also in India that in the village, I have seen that those people who are like washerman, barber, you know, the one who comes and carry the dead cows away. Yes? So all these people, they stay outside the village boundary. Correct? I've seen, when traveling, I noticed that. Yes? So they are put into a place where they are outside. They don't come to the regular. So you see here today, Priyavarta did exactly the same. He demarcated areas for this kind of people. They are put in different, they are not mixed. They are not mixed. Why? Because they are dirty, dishonest, and this is another thing, this is the biggest thing here. What do you call this? Thievery. Thieves. This is one of their qualifications. They develop this bad quality of thieving, faithlessness, useless quarrel. That's now we read the beginning of this class, that the verse that to help not get them to quarrel, right? He separated them. See? So lust, anger, and hankering constitute the nature of this kind of people. So in order to give them separate locations, you understand, because of their qualities, they are put in different areas. Just like this Lord Shiva, that verse, where is that?
3:12, 16.
3:12, 16, huh? 3:12, 16. Alright, see here, the same thing here, Lord Shiva. The sons and grandsons generated by Rudra were unlimited in number, and when they assembled together, they attempt to devote the entire universe. When Brahma, the father of the living entity, saw this, he became afraid of the situation. You see this point here? They were not, what do we say the word? Work in harmony. They were disharmony. They were trying to mess everything up. Is that the point? The generations of Rudra, the incarnation of anger, was so dangerous to the maintenance of universal affairs that even Brahma, the father of the living, became afraid of them. The so-called devotees or followers of Rudra are also a menace. They are sometimes dangerous even to Rudra himself. Descendants of Rudra sometimes make plans to kill Rudra. By the grace of Rudra, this is the nature of his devotees. See how dangerous they are? Yeah? So what happened, you see here, Brahma told Rudra, who best among the demigods, there is no need for you to generate living entities of this nature. Don't do this. Then they have begun to devastate everything from on all sides with fairy flames from their eyes, and they have even attacked me. You see this? Quarreling, fighting. This all these are what? Sons of. Then he said, you see, my dear son, you better situate yourself in penance, which is auspicious for all living entities, which will bring all benediction upon you. By penance only shall you be able to create the universe as it was before. So then he asked all these people to go to stay. Is there? Was there? He asked them to go to stay in the forest. I don't think it's there. It's not there. So I think the Nishadas, the word Nishadas, they are given a place in the forest. That is, I think, in the Prithu Maharaj, that verse. Yeah? Prithu Maharaj, they were told to go to the forest. See? So people who are not civilized, our term of civilized means not that he is educated. Our term of civilized means he is a devotee of Krishna following the Varṇa-Saṅkara system. You understand? So such people are called civilized, and they are put into cities and towns and villages and everything. Whereas the people who are not civilized, they are put outside the cities and all this situation. You understand? Why? Because you see here, just now we read, they wanted to even attack Lord Brahma. Is that? See how they were very, violent. Isn't that clear? So they even wanted to attack Lord Brahma. You see how they were very hostile. See, they have even attacked me. So see how this kind of consciousness is not very conducive for healthy population living peacefully. So when you disrupt this Varṇa-Saṅkara system, especially Varṇa-Saṅkara system is disturbed when there is mixed what? Marriages. As a result, the whole thing becomes in flames and fighting and quarreling and so many things, especially when a person gets into lust. Correct? Explain here this, when a person is not practicing proper austerity, self-control and all, then he goes into the mode of passion and ignorance. Correct? And when he goes to the mode of passion and ignorance, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, you see here, and this verse, Dayato Vishaya Pumsam Sangateshu Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamam Kama Krodha Vijayate. See, this is how I all folks. While contemplating with the objects of the senses, the person develops attachment for them, and from attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. When anger arises, from anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into a material pool. So this one section, the Aryas, as Prabhupada many times said, they are advancing. When this Anarya, are people who are not civilized and following rules and regulations, adharmic, they are going, she said, fall down. So you see how detrimental this whole thing is about. Now the human life is not meant just to go and get money to what? Eat, sleep, mate, defend. It's not purpose. The purpose is to have a progressive life towards Krishna. You understand? So the reason why he separated them was that he let them be in their corner. that they don't come and disturb people who are practicing an advancement in spiritual life. So keep them separate. Okay? You understand? But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was different. He even went to these forest people. You know, when he was traveling in Jarikanda, he met all these kind of people. Not only that, he met also the animals. So I see animals also in the forest. Animals don't come to your house, do they? Do you keep a tiger in your house? Eh? Possible? Why? Why don't you keep a tiger in your house? Bengali tiger, huh?
Cow.
Cow. Why you keep cow?
Cow to eat.
Tiger got no milk?
Tiger.
Huh? Because tiger is what? Wild, cannot be domesticated, correct? Yes? So it is very pure to keep a cow, but it's dangerous to keep a tiger. So the tiger is kept where? In the forest. You don't keep tiger, you know. Or if they keep in the zoo, fenced up, bars. Yes, why? Because if you come out, he will eat you up. Tiger doesn't make distinction. Yes? So dangerous. So similarly, people who are like animals, they are also kept in what? Separated areas. They are not mixed up. See? So I have explained how a person develops all these bad qualities by mixing up. Now, even though you mixed up, so how do we elevate them? This is the unique experience of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And just by taking up the process of chanting Hare Krishna, a person who is even of this kind of category can be upgraded. You see, he can be promoted to higher caste simply by Sutta Goswami said, although we are born in a mixed caste, we are still promoted in birthright simply by serving and following the great souls who are advanced in knowledge. Even by conversing with such great souls, one can without delay cleanse oneself of all disqualification resulting from a lower birth. So I say this is the what? The way how to, it's not that if you take a lower birth you're condemned. No. You understand? It is not that. Of course, if you don't want to take association of devotees, then definitely you are penalized. You will never improve in your character. But if you take shelter of the devotees, then yes. Even Lord Brahma also said the same thing. Even Sanatana Goswami also said, let's go to that verse. Sutta Goswami did not take his birth in a Brahmana family. He was born in a family of mixed caste or uncultured low family. But because of high association like Sri Sukadeva Goswami and the great rishis of Namasranya, certainly the disqualification of inferior birth was washed out. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu followed this principle in pursuit of the Vedic usage, and by his transcendental association he elevated many low-born men or those disqualified by birth or action to the status of devotional service and established them in the position of acharyas or authority. He clearly stated that any man, whatever he may be, whether a Brahmana or Sudra by birth or a householder or mendicant by social order, can be accepted as an acharya or guru, a spiritual master, if he is conversant with the signs of Krishna. So the Goswami learned the signs of Krishna from great rishis and authorities like Sukadeva and Vyasadeva, and he has so qualified that even the sages of Ramesranya eagerly wanted to hear from him the signs of Krishna in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have the double association of great souls by hearing and preaching. The transcendental signs or the signs of Krishna has to be learned from the authorities, and when one becomes conversant in the signs and preaches it, he becomes still more qualified. So Sutta Goswami had both the advantages, and thus undoubtedly he was completely free from all disqualification of low birth and mental agonies. This verse definitely proves that Sutta Goswami's inferior birth did not cause either Srila Sukadeva Goswami to refuse to teach him about transcendental science or the sages of Namisranya to refuse to hear lessons from him. This means that thousands of years ago there was no bar to learning or preaching the transcendental science because of inferior birth. The rigidity of this so-called caste system in Hindu society became prominent only within the last 100 years or so, when the number of Divija Bandhus, the disqualified men in the families of higher caste, increased. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revived the original Vedic system and he elevated Thakur Haridas to the position of Namacharya, or authority in preaching the glories of the holy name of the Lord. Although His Holiness Srila Haridas Thakur was pleased to appear in a family of Mohammedans. See, this is even worse. Haridas Thakur, he took birth in the Muslim family. What family? Muslim. Cow eating, correct? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made him what? Why? Because he was chanting Krishna's name. Nobody could chant more than him. He was chanting how many rounds a day? 190? 192. How many you chant? How many? Struggling with 16, right? Huh? Yeah? No. Prabhupada used to say, when he chanted round and he put the feet down. Now, after he finishes, now I can do any damn thing I like. Prabhupada statement. You know how much we are so much into just finishing this. But Haridas Thakur, I mean, how many hours is that chanting? 192, maybe 15 to 20 hours a day. Right? See how much engrossed. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he made him Namacharya. Such is the power of pure devotee of the Lord. Ganges water is accepted as pure, and one can become purified by taking a bath in the water of the Ganges. But as far as great devotees of the Lord are concerned, they can purify a degraded soul even by being seen by the low-born. What to speak of association? Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to purify the whole atmosphere of the polluted world by sending qualified preachers all over the world to preach the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. And he remained with the Indians to take up this task scientifically and thus to the best kind of humanitarian work rather than performing some stereotype imitation philanthropy work such as opening hospitals. The mental diseases of the present generation are more acute than bodily disease. It is quite fit and proper to take up the preaching of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world without delay. Mahantamanam Abhidhanam also means a dictionary of great devotees, or a book full of words of great devotees. Such books of the words of great devotees and those of the Lord are the Vedas and allied literatures, specifically the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Patita Pavan Hetu Toma Avatar. So he understood that the whole world is going to have these mixed castes and thieves and all this. So he came to deliver all of them. How? Simply by teaching them to? By what? Teaching them what? Nothing. Teaching them how to chant. Yare deka tare kaha Krishna upadesh. Hare nama eva kevalam. Kalau nasteva gatiran. The moment he chants, then he is no more low class, even though he is what? Chanda. Even though he is what? Even though he is a Chandala. You see here? To say nothing of the spiritual advancement of people who see the Supreme Person face to face. Even a person born in a family of dog eaters immediately becomes eligible to perform Vedic sacrifice if he once utters the holy name of the Supreme personality of Godhead or chants about him, hears about his pastime, offer him obeisance, even remembers him. See how powerful. Even you are coming from all this kind of background, low background, but the moment you take up this process of chanting Krishna's name, then there's no more. You are no more classified as such. In fact, you are promoted to the status of doing even fire sacrifice. See how powerful this process is. The only catch is that you have to start surrendering to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and chanting Hare Krishna. Understand? If you just chant Hare Krishna, it will not work. You must surrender to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then it is possible. Understand? And there so many groups are chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. No, they start Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then after finish, coffee, sir. I've seen coffee, tea. You're chanting so much, your throat must be dry. You like to take some coffee, sir? Isn't it? Why? Why they cannot give up their sinful life? Because they're not accepting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Understand? If you don't accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then it is not possible for you to come up to higher grade. That's to be read in the purport, it's not read. What he says? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he what? Eliminated them. Correct? So that thing is possible if we take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then yes, again the next verse you see. Not only you can do all this fire sacrifice and all that, in fact you this is another important verse spoken by devotee. Oh, how glorious are they whose tongues are chanting your holy name. Even if born in the families of dog-eaters, such persons are worshipable. See, not only they are qualified, they are also worshipable. Persons who chant the holy name of your Lordship must have executed all kinds of austerity and fire sacrifice and achieved all the good manners of the Aryas. So you see, immediately from the Anarya platform, he comes to the Aryan platform. See? To be chanting the holy name of your Lordship, they must have bathed at the holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. You understand? So the moment a person chants, then he is washed off of all his what? Birthright and this, quality, all bad qualities, finished. It's no more classified. That's why, and not only that, if you don't recognize him as such, then you also commit an offense. You understand? If a person who is chanting and you disregard him, then you are committing an. Understand this point? You cannot treat someone chanting, I think he is coming from low background. No, this guy, his birth is. Cannot say that. You know the words? Vaishnava Jadipuri, Acharya Sila Dishu. What is that? What is that? Acharya Sila Dishu, where is it? Four? 421? 12. I'm trying to get the verse from the Antyalila. It's Haridas Thakur, So all these qualities of lower birth, this is the whole thing until 3. Material destination create differentiation in terms of caste, color, creed, nationality, etc. Different gotras or family destination are distinct in terms of material world. But when one comes to Krishna consciousness, he immediately becomes one of the Achyuta Gotra, or descendants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus become transcendental to all destination of caste, creed, color and nationality. Ritu Maharaj has no control over the Brahmana Kula, which refers to the learned scholars in Vedic knowledge, nor over the Vaishnavas who are above the consideration of Vedic knowledge. You see that? The moment a person takes up Krishna consciousness, the Vaishnava, then he is no more into all this kind of barriers. See? See, this is the verse. Acharya Vaishnava Silade Gurushu Naramati Vaishnava Jati Buddhi Vishnu Va Vaishnavanam Kalimala Matane Paratirtha Ambu Buddhi Sri Vishnu Namani Mantre Sakala Kalasu Kalusa E Sapta Samanya Buddhi Vishnu Sarveswares Tat Itara Samadhi Yasya Va Naraki Saha. One who thinks that the deity in the temple is made of wood or stone, who thinks that the spiritual master in the disciplic succession an ordinary man, who thinks that the Vaishnava and Achyuta Gotra to belong to a certain caste or creed, or thinks that of Charnamrita or Ganges water as ordinary water is taken to be a resident of hell. So you see this point here? So the moment a person chants, then you cannot see his bodily consciousness. He is to be seen as a servant of Krishna. You cannot make this distinction. You understand this point? Very important point. So we should be very careful. That's why our movement is the most powerful movement. Why? Because it is upgrading all fallen souls to a higher status. You understand? We are not trying to keep people on the bodily concept of life. The moment you come to Krishna consciousness, you are first thing you learn that you are not the... Yes. You understand? That's why many times in the class Prabhupada said we are not Americans, we are not Indians, we are not... How many times we repeat that over and over again? Because that is the sum and substance. We are not this body. Dehinosmi yata dehe kavamaram javanam jara tata dehantara pratidhira pranamurti. So we are taught every day, Prabhupada is speaking, you are not the body, you are not the body, you are not the body. What are you? I am a spirit soul. Gopi in Bharata Pada Kamala in 1380, is it? This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also is teaching us this thing. This is what we are trained to do. Naham Vipro, Nacha Naram Matir, Vipro means Brahmana. Nacha Narapati means Kshatriya. Napi Vaishya, I am not a Vaishya. And Na Sudra, I am not a Sudra. Naham Varni, that means I am not Brahman. Nacha Grahapati, na Vanastona. I am not sannyas, I am not grahastha, I am not brahmachari, I am not vanaprastha. Then what is who am I then? I am not a Brahman, I am not a Kshatriya, I am not Vaishya or Sudra, no, I am a brahmachari, a householder, a vanaprastha or sannyasi. I identify myself only as the servant of the lotus feet of the Lord Sri Krishna, the maintainer of gopis, is like an ocean of nectar and is cause of universal tranquil bliss. He is always existing with brilliance. So that is our, what we say, understanding, should be understanding that we are not this body. I am simply a servant of the servant of the servant of the, not even just servant. I cannot be a servant of Krishna. I be a servant of the servant of the servant of. See? You understand? That's why we accept everybody. Anybody who comes, we open arms. We come in, yes, chant Hare Krishna. Correct? We don't say, oh, you coming from it? China, no, you cannot come here. You go to Chinese club. You say that? No. Correct? In fact, we are very happy to embrace anybody from any other background to take up Krishna consciousness. That's why this Krishna consciousness is the only answer for this Kali Yuga. There is no other. That's why what is that verse we chant? Hare Nama, Hare Nama. There is no other way. No other way. There is no other way. So if we want to take away all these boundaries and all these heels and all these things, of course you cannot take the heels away, but if you want to demarcate, then the only way is to embrace everybody with the understanding that everyone is a servant of. Teach everyone that he is a servant of. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Yare Deka, Tare Kaha, Krishna Upadesh. The moment he says one, in fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so liberal that he was asked, who is Vaishnava? Anyone who chanted even once Hare Krishna, he is considered Vaishnava. See how much he is, embracing. Even once if we have said Hare Krishna. See how powerful Krishna consciousness is. So please take it up seriously and give up all these destinations, not this body. And this way we can all participate very blissfully from any part of the world and become happy. There's no other way, there's no other shortcut, There's no other shortcut. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one intelligence is soon established. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? There is no way this thing can work. It is not possible. You follow? Right? So you are getting late. You found that Haridas Thakur talking to you. Antya 3, a group of verses that purport about how the qualification of a person who is a devotee, no more class. That verse, famous verse, na bhakta vat. One who is not one who is a what? That verse, very famous. One who is a devotee, he is a Name Bhakta Chaturvedi, 1625. Until 1625. 1625 is speaking to that devotee, Here, see. Even though one is very learned scholar in Sanskrit literature, if he is not engaged in pure devotional service, he is not accepted as my devotee. But if someone born in a family of doctors is a pure devotee with no motives of enjoyment through fruitive activity or mental speculation, he is very dear to me. All respect should be given to him, and whatever he offers should be accepted. For such a devotee is indeed as worshipable as I am. You know, this verse is very... Name bhakta chaturvedi, mad bhakta swapakchaha priya, tasme deham tato graham, sacha pujo yaga yaham. Some of us, no. Actually, this verse is again here. This is another verse here. See, this is from 7, 9, 10. A person may be born in a Brahmana family and have all 12 Brahminical qualities, but if in spite of being qualified, he is not devoted to the lotus feet of the Lord, Krishna, who has the navel shaped like a lotus, he is not as good as a Chandala, who has dedicated his mind, words, activities, wealth and life to the service of the Lord. Simply to take birth in a Brahmana family or to have Brahminical qualities is not sufficient. One must become a pure devotee of the Lord. If a Swapacha or Chandala or is a devotee, he delivers not only himself but his whole family. Whereas a Brahmana who is not a devotee but simply has Brahminical qualification cannot even purify himself, what to speak of his family. This is the two verses that we quoted just now. So here you can see how a person from the low born status can also come up to a very high status if he simply opens his mouth and starts chanting Krishna's name. This is the verdict of these Srimad Bhagavatam, the Shastras. If someone born a Sudra possesses the characteristics of a Brahmana and someone born a Brahmana does not, that Sudra should be known as a Sudra, the Sudra should not be known as a Sudra and the Brahmana should not be known as a Brahmana. Yeah? It is not out of birthright, it is our qualification. If a person born in a Sudra family has developed the qualities of a Brahmana such as Satya, truthfulness, Sama, peacefulness, Dhamma, self-control and Arjava, simplicity, he attained the exalted position of a Brahmana. If one is actually situated in the occupation of Brahmana, he must be considered Brahmana, even if he is born in a Kshatriya or Vaishya family. Or Devi, even if one is born a Sudra, if he is actually engaged in the occupation and pure behavior of Brahmana, he becomes a Brahmana. Therefore, a Vaishya can become a Kshatriya. Moreover, a Vaishya can become a Kshatriya. Therefore, neither the source of one's birth nor his reformation nor his education is the criteria of a Brahmana. The Vritta, occupation, is the real standard by which one is known as a Brahmana. This is the famous statement by Narada Muni, Yasya Lakshana Proktam Padma Purana. A devotee should never be considered Sudra. To this point here, a devotee should never be considered a Sudra. All the devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead should be recognized as Bhagavatas. If one is not a devotee of Lord Krishna, however, even if he is born a family of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya family, he should be considered Sudra. Is this a statement? In the Padma Purana also it is stated, if a person born in a Brahmana family is an Avaishnava, a non-devotee, one should not see his face exactly as one should not look upon the face of a Chandala or a dog eater. However, Vaishnava found in the Varnas other than Brahmana can purify all the three worlds. One who considers a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who was born in a family of Sudras, Nishada, just now we explained the word Nishada, or Chandala, to belong to that particular caste certainly goes to hell. So if a devotee is coming from this background, if you think that he is low caste devotee, then we are actually going to hell. The Brahmana must be a Vaishnava and learned scholar. Therefore in India it is customary to address the Brahmana as Pandit. Without knowledge of Brahman, one cannot understand the Supreme Personality of God. Therefore, a Vaishnava is already a Brahmana, whereas a Brahmana may become a Vaishnava. In the Garuda Purana it is said, even if one is born as a Malacha, if he becomes a devotee, he is considered the best of the Brahmanas and a learned Pandit. Similarly, a bell nettle, this is as bell nettle is turned to gold when mixed with mercury in an alchemical process. So one who is properly trained and initiated by a bona fide spiritual master becomes a Brahmana immediately. All this evidence found in the revealed scriptures prove that according to the Vedic vision, a Vaishnava is never to be considered an Abrahmana or a non-Brahmana. A Vaishnava should not be thought to belong to a lower caste, even if he born in a Malacha or Yavana family. Because he has become a devotee of the Lord Krishna, he has become purified and has attained the stage of Brahmana, Divijatvam Jayate Narana. So try to understand this position, this markation and all this thing is for people who have not taken the process of Krishna consciousness. But if they have taken the process of Krishna consciousness, they can become. And therefore no need to have all this, what do you call it, demarcation. You stay here, I stay here, I stay here. No. We can stay anywhere. That's why devotee can go where? Even to hell, correct? He can go to hell or he can go to heaven. Why? Because he's chanting. Whereas those who are hellish, they cannot come to heaven because they are hellish. Right? See? I want to speak about hills and even planets are all different also, correct? Like here we are in earth, we have different barriers, correct? When you go heaven, there's a different class. I'm sure we have discussed that, right? There you have above us the ghosts, above the ghosts you have the what? The Gandharva, like that you go and finally the highest person, right? No Brahma, correct? See how they are going, subtle and subtle and subtle. Different kind of what? You cannot go to Brahma Loka like that. Can you go? No possible. You have to call it. Yes. But the moment you become a devotee like Narada, he can go anywhere. He goes to heaven, he goes to hell, he goes because he's devotee. There is a difference. So if you want to go visa-free travel, throw away your passport and say you what? My passport is the Veena. Narada Muni Bhajaya Veena, right? Radhika Raman, yes, take the Veena and of course, I don't know you will get through, but you can try. So this is, anybody have anything to add?
Actually recently there are some Indians, the Hindu guys and modern Indians, they are saying, oh, it has been an unnecessary taboo that one should not cross the ocean, and because of that we lost out on a lot of trade, and because of that we allowed the Britishers to come inside and all the Portuguese to come inside and like.
How do you cannot cross, but the British crossing came in.
No, the thing is, if Indians would have taken the initiative to cross the ocean instead of keeping the taboo that one cannot cross the ocean, we could have flourished in trade much better than we.
Yes, it's already been done now.
No, the point is, the reason it's not just a taboo, it's because of this, it's because of the different qualities of the people on the other side, and how
even in Europe, we saw there's people, they don't want the gypsies to come. There's a group of people called gypsies in many parts of Europe, and they are thieves. They don't want them to, they stay far away from the cities. I think in Romania, we saw Romania, Bulgaria, all these places. These guys, they say they came from India. You see how India is getting bad name. All thieves. So you see this statement, because why? They don't want them to, Vedic culture. You see, like India, you take the geography of India, there is what? A big mountain range, correct? You understand? Why? Krishna blocked all the barbarians. They cannot cross over. The Himalayan is up to today is impossible to cross. You know. But you see China, they want to stop the barbarians, they have to build a wall. Great Wall of China. What? You see, that's also demarcation why you want to stop. You see, people from that kind of a background will come, pollute all your people. So India by nature has got its, natural, Himalayas there, and then the oceans all on this side. Nobody can. Right? So why? To protect. Because if you don't have protection, then how you can practice peacefully? It's not possible. The reason why this is divided by Privarta, so that it keeps people away from quarreling and fighting. Understand? Otherwise unnecessary trouble. You are chanting peacefully, you say stop. We don't want to use it. Because it's inflating, this time you cannot play your drum, we are sleeping. You understand? There is so many problems you have, especially like us. We are preaching outside India. Of course, in India, now also is catching up. They don't want you to wake up and chant. That's another problem. But generally, it is more prominent outside. For example, just now, Nimai sent me a video that the 7,000 people were fined in China for praying. Where? In their house. They were praying in their house and the authority came and summoned them. You got prayer mat? You got religious book? Okay, fine. See how this thing is becoming so much detrimental? Because you are mixing with low class people? Yeah? You understand? So this is going to become more and more prominent as Kali Yuga accelerates. And it's going to be, that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, get out of this place, go back. And up to 10,000 years only this thing will what? Be prominent. After that it's finished. It's going to be so hellish. If you just say Krishna name, you'll be arrested. Huh? Can you imagine? In China, if you say, I'm praying, you're in trouble. Can you imagine that? That's Kali. That's why better you get out of this place as quickly as possible. Don't waste time. Of course, our strength is chanting. That's why even Prabhupada, when in the early days, the devotees were going out and distributing books and all that, then they're getting bashed, beaten, by the karmis. And Prabhupada introduced worship of Narsimha. That's why we learn the prayer. Namaste Narsimha in the morning and evening we chant. Why? Because of this disturbance from these non-devotees. This is what it is. And you are going into their territory. You understand? And they also come to our place, like for example in the early days, those guys, they came to our farm with guns, shooting our devotees. And as they shot the deity fell. And then they heard the loud sound, they ran away. All these are history you can read. Yeah. Why? Because that's how they are. They just want to, there's a verse, that these guys are always finding trouble with devotees. Right? 4:31, something. And that's their nature, to create trouble too. So don't expect, to have very fine time. You just see Haridas Thakur, how much trouble? Huh? Beaten. And what to speak about, you see the modern day Jesus Christ, correct? He was hanged. He was preaching and he was hanged. Crucified. Not hanged, crucified. See how this Kali Yuga, I am telling you, do not expect somewhat a good time, Especially if you are outside India, Now India, just recently I read, they made the law that 9 states have given permission for anybody who's coming from Bangladesh, Pakistan or what? The citizenship. They've given citizen for anyone non-Muslims. Non-Muslims. Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan. Myanmar. I think these are the major countries. Bangladesh, Pakistan. Afghanistan, forget it. I don't know who is there anymore. Sikhs. Even Buddhists can come, Sikhs can come, Hindus can, of course, but Muslims cannot come. They are given citizenship. You know, citizen. I don't know, I qualify, coming from. No, they didn't give me. I went and tried, but I didn't get it. So anyway, the point is this, you see why this situation, why? Because the situation politically it is not stable. You know what I mean? Hindus are penalized. I saw how many in Bangladesh, the guy got cut his head. Decapitated, cut, no? How you like Mangala Arati, happily you're doing and your next moment your head is cut. Huh? How many guys? Gaudiya. I tell you this is, and Pakistan, if you just say, you don't say, they don't like you, he said something about Allah. Finish. 50 guys will come and throw everything they got on you. Then what will be happening? Huh? What do you call that? Lynching. Right? What is the word? Mob lynching, right? See? Understand? See how their laws are there. If they say blasphemy law. Finish, you are gone. You cannot do anything. So Indian government is now very much pathetically trying to rope in all these people who are, you know what I mean? I am telling you, it is getting worse and worse. So we need definitely to become, united, preach. If you don't preach, you cannot survive. The preaching is that is the strength. If you don't, you will be finished. Because how long India will hold, that's another question. If India also become Muslim country, it's going to be terrifying. Finish? Alright, we stop here then. Thank you very much.